keeper, and welcome to On Air.
A local businessman makes $1 million contribution to a Republican presidential candidate. Good evening and thanks for watching tonight. I'm Todd Blackington. As presidential candidate and former Governor Mitt Romney continues his march forward from his victory in Florida, we're learning a little bit more about how he was propelled to the win in the Sunshine State. And we come to find out that some of that money came from right here in eastern Idaho. Our Logan McDougall's been following the story for us today. He joins us now from the Pocatello newsroom. So Logan, where did some of that Romney money come from?
Now, it wasn't donated by Frank directly. It was donated by Frank's company, Frank Vandersloot's company, Melaleuca, and he gave a total of $1 million to the Romney-aligned super PAC, Restore Our Future. The company gave the money in four $250,000 pieces to the PAC from Melaleuca and its affiliates, according to the Idaho Statesman. Vandersloot is also a co-chairman in the Romney campaign.
When you believe in a cause, and when you believe that it's important to the direction of this nation, and when you realize how great a nation we have, then you'd be willing to do about anything that's legal and proper, appropriate, and honorable.
Question: is Melaleuca trying to buy the White House, and to what end? Are they also causing the silencing of distributor voices here in direct selling? Also, direct selling media, where are the minorities? That's the setup. Let's get to it.
When my mother used to sell Princess House.
Joined Amway that night.
Norma siempre vendía cosas de Avon.
Oh, it must have been around 1935.
But those knives were amazing.
The one lady's name was Mary Kay, and I said, oh, cosmetics will never sell on Party Plan.
Was a single mom and created these hair care products for black women and became the first self-made millionaire in the United States. I just think that's extraordinary.
Welcome to On Air. Last December, On Air did a story on Amway, its heirs, the DeVos family, being one of the largest soft money donors to the Republican Party. Not only have they been one of the largest soft money, and when we say money, we're talking secret, non-transparent, nobody knows, no accountability. Not only have they been that, but they have been one of the largest secret soft money donors to the Republican Party for years. For years. Now, just a little sidebar here. Let's look at this. Amway, one of the giants in direct selling, and they tout leadership. They tout integrity. Why would the owners of Amway say they weren't when they were? To me, that speaks to integrity. That speaks to, I guess you could just flat out say you're lying. But that's another story, and we will get to that on another show. However, we're talking about politics and its influence. It has become increasingly clear that direct selling and mighty direct selling owners are very deeply invested into politics here in the United States and beyond. That's no surprise. When you have mega power, you look to extend it through politics and influence. Today, the politics of direct selling, the influence just seems to get bigger and bigger and bigger. For months now, people have told me there is no connection. You really shouldn't be on this because it's not a discussion we should be having. And as each day passes, not only is it a discussion we should be having, it is a discussion that we are being driven to have. Last week, another superpower in direct selling raised its head in the political game here in the United States. Last week, Melaleuca, mighty Melaleuca, and its owner, Frank Vandersloot, finally, it comes out that he donated over $1 million to the Romney Super PAC, Restore Our Future. Not only did he donate $1 million, but the question is how he donated it. He didn't donate it as an individual because you can't. You can only donate up to $2,500 as an individual. But thanks to Citizens United decision in January 2010, corporations can donate ungodly amounts of money in order to try to win political favor, political influence, and ultimately control the White House. So what did Frank Vandersloot do in his attempt to buy the White House? As do, or I should say, as are the DeVos family. He donated $1 million, but he broke it up into 4 sections of $250,000 each. $250,000 out of Melaleuca in Idaho, but then the other $750,000, the other $750,000 came from outside the United States. 3 different divisions of Melaleuca. 3 different divisions of Melaleuca in Asia. The question becomes this. We all know that here in the United States, it's supposed to be one voice for everyone. But when you have this much money, you have this much power, and you can now buy politicians, and hopefully in your case, what you're attempting to do is buy the White House. What happens to the average voice of the American? What happens to the average distributor voice, who not only believes that one voice, one vote is the rule of the land, but you as an owner of a direct selling company are now controlling the voice. You are now controlling the machine. Imagine, if you will, you see a direct selling company and you love their products. You love your upline, you love the management, you love what they're all about and what they're talking about doing and where they want to go and how they want to help people and how they want to do all these great things. And you're going out, you're making a good living, or you're struggling to make a living, but either way, you're building your business. And because they're your business partner and not your employer, but your business partners, they make a profit off of what you make as well. And of course, that's entrepreneurship, partnership, entrepreneurship. But then later you find out that they have such a different political ideology that's different than yours, that they are donating millions of dollars towards things that you believe in, or views that you, or causes that you would absolutely agree with and you yourself have been pushing for. What do? This speaks to this point right here. As politics and politicians now here in the United States, here in direct selling, because we now have to start looking at direct selling as being a political power. I've been talking about this for months, and I've been told we should not be having this conversation, Keeper. It's not something we want to talk about. But now that our owners are in the news, they are fair game, and it has now opened up the conversation for all of us. What do? What happens when your company is at ideological, political differences than you? I hate to look at it this way, but this is the only way I can look at it. Millions of distributors in the United States and abroad, but particularly here in the United States, are out building their businesses. They're just humping every day. And part of the money that you're making is going against the things that you need or the things that you believe in, without any transparency from the ownership. They're not telling you what they're doing. They're just doing it on themselves, or really doing it by themselves. And yet you're their business partner. I don't know about you, but I'd like to know these things about my business partner. It's not to say we won't continue being business partners, but it gives me a level playing field. I know where we stand. It's like a marriage. When you become a distributor with a direct selling company, it's almost like a marriage. It's a business marriage. It's a business contract. And you want to know about those things that impact your business. If I'm a Melaleuca distributor or an Amway distributor, I have to now take a step back and say, wow, why didn't you tell me? These super PACs are really getting out of hand. Just a couple of days ago, the Koch brothers have decided they're going to put up $100 million to defeat President Obama and get who they want in the White House. Fair enough. If you can do it, more power to you. But now the process is about to shift, because now President Obama recently said, as recently as last night, I believe, that he and his people are going to take a step back and re-examine the super PACs, whether or not they want to get involved with them or take money from the super PACs. When that happens, and as soon as he said that, you know that meant that they're going to do it. When that happens, it's going to be interesting to see, as the money starts flowing into the Obama super PACs, which direct selling owners will put money into the Obama super PACs and which direct selling owners would put money into the Republican super PACs. What's going to happen there? But the key is this: the silencing of distributor voices. It cannot be. Money is about to trump in a major, major way every voice of every distributor here in the United States. You can have differing political views all day long, and you should and you will. There's absolutely no problem with that. But I cannot stomach the thought that when I go to the polls as an American, as a distributor, my vote really doesn't count. My vote has already been pushed away, tossed in the trash, and chucked on. I'm curious as to what you think about it. If you have a comment, please contact us at OnAir@Direct Selling Live. We would love to get your thoughts on this, because the silencing of the American voice, the silencing of the distributor voice, is in full effect. I'll be right back.
When my mother used to sell Princess House.
Join them way that night.
Norma siempre vendía cosas de Avon.
Oh, it must have been around 1935.
But those knives were amazing.
The one lady's name was Mary Kay, and I said, oh, cosmetics will never sell on party plan.
Was a single mom and created these hair care products for black women and became the first self-made millionaire in the United States. I just think that's extraordinary.
Welcome back to On Air. Let me ask you, have you looked at a direct selling magazine or newspaper lately? I mean, really looked. Have you taken a look at it and looked at the pictures and said, wow, where are all the minorities? Well, I think it's a fair question. I really do. Because direct selling that is, we've been around for over 150 years, you would think that there would be more minorities in these magazines. They're very little. In fact, right now, Direct Selling Live is doing a special report on direct selling skin, race in direct selling. Part 1 of that is actually showing right now, and part 2 will actually be coming up in the next week or so. But direct selling media, when it comes to minority representation, we are just absolutely pitiful with it. And primarily, it goes back to direct selling print media. I'm going to read something to you. I hope you give me the time to do this. It's going to take a couple of minutes, but I want to read something to you. This is from the Center for Literacy, and I need to take my glasses off. Hope you don't mind. A Long Way to Go: Minorities in the Media by Carlos Cortez. During the September 18th, 1886 televising of the $25,000 Pyramid, for those of you who don't know, that was a very popular game show back then, a most remarkable exchange occurred. In this popular game show, 2 pairs of contestants compete. For each pair, a series of words appear on the screen in front of the contestant, who gives a clue to try to get the partner to identify the correct word. Got it? Okay. On this special day, the word gangs came up on the cluer screen, the cluer giving the word to his partner. Without hesitation, he fired out the first thing that came to his mind. They have lots of these in East LA. Now, before I go any further, East LA is kind of where I grew up. So, they have lots of these in East LA, a heavily Mexican-American area of Los Angeles. Responding at once, the guest celebrity partner agreed or answered gangs. Under competitive pressure, 2 strangers had immediately and viscerally linked East LA with gangs. Why? What force could have brought these 2 strangers to such a rapid mental communication? The answer is obvious. The mass media. The entertainment media have displayed a fascination with Latino gangs, while the media and the news media nationwide have given them extensive coverage. In contrast, the entertainment media have offered a comparatively narrow range of other Latino characters, while the news media have provided relatively sparse coverage of other Hispanic topics except for such problems and issues as immigration and language. The result has been a Latino public image, better yet, a stereotype in which gangs are featured prominently. These singularly but significant examples has broad, important, and ominous implications for minorities and other ethnic groups. First, Whether intentionally or unintentionally, both of the news and the entertainment media teach the public about minorities and other ethnic groups, societal groups such as women, gays, and the elderly. Second, the mass media curriculum has a particularly powerful educational impact on people who have little or no direct contact with members of the groups being treated. Moreover, this special concern, the influence of the mass media on public image of minorities, is only one of the many complex features of the tortuous relationship between minorities and the media. Minorities have long recognized the media's power to influence their lives, and they have struggled to achieve greater influence over their own media destinies. Most minority media efforts, including protests, have focused on the area of media content. Minorities, supported by our research, that media influence not only view how media views them, but even they view themselves. So minorities and other ethnic groups have long attempted to convince industry-wide decision makers to seek better balance in media coverage of minorities and to reduce the widespread negative view and treatment of minorities by the entertainment media. Likewise, they have clamored for the media presentation of better minority role models in news, entertainment, even advertising, both to set standards for minority people and to reduce the stereotypes too long prevalent in the media. While progress has occurred, the media have not completely been consistently responsive or sensitive. Part of the reason is that minorities have traditionally had a marginal presence and even less influence within the mainstream media. But the presence of a few prominent minority news people, television personalities, movie stars is less significant than the broader nature of the minority experience within the media industry. And once inside the door, problems occur. Personal isolation, difficulty in entering and engaging upper-level management, lack of influence, career hazards. Minority journalists, publishers, editors often face the dilemma of balancing their social commitment to provide better coverage of minority communities against their fear of being ghettoized to the minority beat, and thereby having their professional careers restricted. In closing, such are the quandaries of marginality and absence of power. For this reason, some minority people have opted to operate outside the mainstream media and form their own media. In this way, they have sought to select their own themes, express their own views, influence their own public images. They have established their own newspapers and magazines, set up their own radio and television stations, created their own public and production firms, their own film production companies, and formed their own advertising agencies, often specializing in helping companies reach the minority market. Minorities have long been aware of the influence of mass media on their lives and have struggled to increase their own impact in media. While the result has often been frustrating and depressing, there have been many victories and successes to which minorities can point and emulate. With increasing media experience and sophistication, minorities are determined to expand their media influence as they expand their physical presence in our increasingly multi-ethnic world. That was done in 1990, and yet here in direct selling we are still struggling to have minorities featured and included in our media here in direct selling, be it network marketing, business journal, direct selling news, which has been absolutely horrific because most of the pictures that you see of minorities in direct selling news is either of Andrea Jung, which I doubt we're going to be seeing that many more of her now that she has lost her CEO position, or we've seen pictures like this. Companies that have gone overseas to help some troubling minority community, be it in Guatemala, Africa someplace. That's usually where you see a minority picture, certainly in direct selling news. Many direct sellers take pride in the perception that direct selling, being as a great melting pot for business diversity, and many hold direct selling as a shining example of what the world would look like if we look beyond color. Nevertheless, for many minorities in direct selling, this presentation or representation of a harmonious acceptance of existence differs from the average everyday experience. According to some, and we've begun to talk to a number, if you look around, direct selling media has failed to represent accurately and portray minorities in the way that they should be. and certainly do it in a way that is persistent with everyday norms. Usually, as I said, we see these pictures of just little minority children just struggling in these third world countries. I think we can do better than this. We should do better than this. If we're going to really talk about diversity and inclusion, we've got to begin to show minorities in a better light. While we speak of direct selling as being an industry for all with the ideals of diversity and equality being constantly advertised, many blacks, Hispanics, and Asians say that after 150 years, these great altruistic concepts have yet to be fully embraced and practiced in direct selling media. It is time that we really begin to take a look at what inclusion means. It just can't be a word. It just can't be an idea. It has to be practiced. It has to be practiced in a practical way. I think certainly direct selling news every now and then, but the majority of your media pictures, as I said, are of these third world children. Network Marketing Business Journal, I doubt that you could find a picture of a minority, 10 of them in the past 10 years. I know for sure if you look, you'll find at least 6 of them, and that were just pictures of me doing an article for them. Networking Times, every now and then they'll do a picture, an article that involves a minority distributor. But we as an industry have got to do better. If we're going to talk about leading the world anywhere, we need to be leading the world towards what it looks like to be inclusive and what diversity really represents. That's the show for today. Hope you had a good time. We will see you next time here on Air.